everyone, and welcome back to Scandalous Media. It's Angela here, and can we please talk about something that many people did not think would happen after the chaos that Prince Harry and Meghan Markle caused to the royal family? Their kids officially have titles.
I'm shocked.
Archie and Lilibet are now known as Prince Archie of Sussex and Princess Lilibet of Sussex. But there is drama, of course. The title was first used officially when People magazine exclusively confirmed that Harry and Meghan are celebrating the christening of their daughter, Princess Lilibet Diana. The headline read, "Meghan and Harry's daughter, Princess Lilibet, christened in intimate California ceremony," with the subhead saying, "As grandchildren of the monarch, Archie and Lilibet are afforded the titles of Prince and Princess." A spokesperson for Harry and Meghan told People magazine, "I can confirm that Princess Lilibet Diana was christened on Friday, March 3rd by the bishop in the Episcopal Diocese of Los Angeles, the Reverend John Taylor." Meghan's personal lapdog, Omid Scobie, said that Harry and Meghan invited King Charles, Queen Camilla, Prince William, and Kate Middleton, but they were not in attendance. Now, this article raised a lot of questions because obviously we have Meghan and Harry's people referring to Lilibet as princess. Meanwhile, for the last 6 months, the royal family's website had the kids listed in the line of succession as Master Archie Mountbatten Windsor and Miss Lilibet Mountbatten Windsor. On top of that, they were still listed as that at the time of the People magazine article, leading to many question marks, especially since no letter patents were issued and many people thought they were not going to get titles for many reasons. One being that King Charles wants to slim down the monarchy, and another being Harry and Meghan have been slandering the royal family for the past 3 years. I made an in-depth video about the titles and everything that goes into it, including the monarch's blessing to have the titles, so go check it out after you're done watching this video. At the time of the People article breaking the news, the palace confirmed the site's line of succession list will now be updated to reflect the change after a spokesman for the Sussexes publicly referred to Lily as a princess for the first time when announcing news of her christening. And so it did. On the official royal family website, we have Archie and Lilibet now listed as Prince and Princess after their cousins and their father. However, a lot of questions remain after this swift change. Did they force these titles? Sources close to Harry and Meghan's camp had suggested they were frustrated at Buckingham Palace's failure to immediately recognize Archie and Lilibet's titles after the Queen's death 6 months ago. Again, go watch my video on the titles because it explains if titles are automatic and all of that. On the other hand, the Prince and Princess of Wales and their 3 children had their titles changed right away when Charles acceded to the throne in September. But Archie and Lily's were not changed until around 24 hours after the baptism announcement on March 8th by People magazine. Buckingham Palace sources claimed that they were waiting for Harry and Meghan to make a final decision. Now keep watching until the end because a lot of interesting details are happening here and there's a lot of theories swirling around that I'm going to talk about. The Daily Mail writes that Charles not blocking it despite the turmoil Harry and Meghan have caused is seen as an olive branch after reports that the couple has been obsessed with the idea that the king might bar the children from being prince or princess. Royal sources said that Charles would never have punished his grandchildren like that. What do you guys think? Now, I've seen both sides. Many people are saying that it's not the kids' fault, and others are saying that this makes Charles look weak after Harry and Meghan's numerous attacks on the royal family and the entire country. After all, it was Meghan who said that she has never faced racism before until she came to the UK.
Very different to be a minority but not be treated as a minority right off the bat. Obviously now people are very aware of my race because they made it such an issue when I went to the UK, but before that, most people didn't treat me like a black woman.
You're not very pretty, and you're not very bright. I'm so glad we had that talk.
Many people believed that Charles would hold firm in the decision not to grant them the titles, especially since around the same time, Queen Margaret of Denmark announced she was stripping her youngest son, Prince Joachim's children, of their prince and princess titles, leading to a huge public disagreement. Now people are questioning if Queen Elizabeth would have followed in the example of her third cousin, Queen Margaret. Richard Eden of Palace Confidential says, "I do wonder if Queen Elizabeth was still alive, whether she would have been more likely to do as her Danish counterpart did and issue letters patent stripping Prince Harry's children of their titles. It seems that King Charles has allowed Prince Harry and Meghan to bump him into allowing them to use their children's titles. Once they started calling Lilibet a princess publicly, it put the king in a difficult position." Now, Queen Margaret's decision to strip the titles of her family had to do with reasons that Harry and Meghan actually claim to care a lot about. That this will be good for them in their future and allow the children who have maintained their positions in the line of succession to shape their own lives without being limited by the special considerations and duties that a formal affiliation with the Danish royal family involves. How ironic for Meghan and Harry. Why do people think that Harry and Meghan basically forced Charles's hand? Well, there was no official announcement, and the first time we saw the titles being used was from Harry and Meghan's spokesperson, who was blabbing to People magazine, and it was only then that names were changed on the royal family's website. On top of that, it almost looks like Harry and Meghan gave the royal family their decision through the media, because if there were talks about this as they claimed, then one would assume that the titles would have already been changed on the website instead of everyone getting the scoop from a US-based source. But alas, their sources say otherwise. A source told the Daily Mirror the appropriate conversations took place ahead of Lilibet's christening. However, a different report says that Charles told Prince Harry that Archie and Lily would be allowed to be called Prince and Princess in a private conversation after the Queen's funeral in September last year. So, was it right before the christening like Harry and Meghan's sources are implying, or was it sometime last year after the funeral?
Someone is lying.
Do you guys believe that, or do you think they blindsided the king? Because someone is definitely lying about what happened. And it gets even more interesting. On January 8, Anderson Cooper asked Harry,
"Do you speak to William now? Do you text?"
Currently, no.
Then he went on to say that he hasn't spoken to his father in quite a while.
"Do you speak to your dad?"
We haven't spoken for quite a while. No, not recently.
So Harry, in his own words, said that he hasn't spoken to Charles in quite a while as of early January. Meanwhile, the sources that Hello Magazine and The Times claim that before the new year, Harry and King Charles had agreed on the use of titles seem a little sketchy. Also at the time, Hello Magazine wrote, "An intervention by the king could have ended the precedent of conferring the titles on male line grandchildren of the sovereign, but the issue was resolved between both sides before the new year." So basically the titles were never automatic, as everyone who's educated on the title drama knows, and as I already explained in my video. But Harry and Meghan were claiming they were automatic, right? As we know, official titles are granted via letters patent, which are royal documents signed by the king and officialized by publishing in London Gazette, and accompanied by a statement of well wishes by Buckingham Palace. However, these titles were announced by People magazine, by some random spokesperson through Artwell, and reluctantly, may I add, and literally 24 hours later, the changes were updated to the Sussex's request on the royal family website. So it doesn't seem like all is good and Harry and Meghan were having adult conversations with Charles. Instead, they seem to be doing what they do best nowadays, and that is media hop in Hollywood. The following day, Charles appeared at a presentation at Buckingham Palace, looking rather displeased, I guess you could say. To be honest, I think it's possible they definitely had a conversation, but I don't think it was anything formal or recent, as I still find it suspicious that the titles weren't changed until after the announcement of Lilibet's christening, which no one was at except the few people that want to associate with him in Hollywood. In Harry and Meghan's second statement to the press trying to salvage the backlash, the source added, "While it is understood the title will be used in formal settings, it will not be in everyday conversational use by the couple." Of course, Harry and Meghan want to preface that, because they know what the criticism will be. You guys just care about the titles and the prestige of it all. And to combat the criticism of, well, you trashed the monarchy and everything it stands for, but here you are using the titles for your kids, the source said, Harry and Meghan are understood to be keen to not deny their children their birthright, but will allow them the chance to decide for themselves when they are older whether they want to drop or keep using the titles. Meghan strikes me as the type of mom to have a meltdown if 10 years down the line, Archie and Lilibet don't want their titles. Because I have a feeling she's about to market the hell out of the kids with these titles. probably release a clothing line with them or even have a reality TV show with them. I doubt there will be an inch of privacy in those kids' lives, especially with Meghan and Harry as parents. We already got every intimate moment on the big screen for Netflix in exchange for $100 million. So they definitely have a price. And suddenly it's their birthright, but when it was William's birthright to be the heir to the throne, we had to sit through Harry's moans about it in his memoir Spare, claiming that he's convinced he was only born to offer William additional organs if he needed them.
What?
I'm serious, that's a real story in Spare. By the way, let me know if you guys want me to continue the Spare coverage. There are still a lot of bizarre things said in that book that I would love to discuss with all of you, especially the part where Harry had complaints that Meghan wasn't allowed to see the late queen on her deathbed. Like, it's absolutely disgusting. But we'll leave it for a different video if that's what you guys want. Let me know in the comments. Now, previously at the time of the late queen's death and the king's accession last year, a spokesman for the king pledged to update Archie and Lilibet's names on the site as and when we get information, they said. Notice what I've been telling you guys about People magazine and their relationship with Harry and Meghan? Everything is said and reported to them by none other than Harry and Meghan. Again, this is the case for many celebrities, if not all, but it's interesting how the king and queen of privacy can't wait to report all matters and all feelings straight to the media almost immediately when they happen. And nothing is wrong with reporting to the media, but this is the same media that Harry and Meghan tried to defame in their sad excuse of a Netflix documentary, better described as a soap opera. It's also extra interesting that this all happened after the news of their Frogmore eviction hit the press, despite King Charles kicking them out a day after Spare's release in January. What do you guys think about all of that? Do you think there's a correlation between the timing of all these reports? Check out my video on the Frogmore eviction and coronation invitation if you didn't already. PR specials. After the titles were announced, Meghan was of course seen out to brunch in Hollywood with some random employees, overjoyed and smiling and laughing when no one was saying anything. She just seems overjoyed to see the paparazzi she called. This all seems like a planned stunt because we get the news of the kids officially being called Prince and Princess, and then the surprise pap shot after lunch in LA, where People magazine also includes a statement from a random guest saying how Meghan is so pretty in real life. And of course, in the article, it's written that there was a special delivery from Harry, who was in San Francisco at the time for the Better Ups Uplifted Summit, and he apparently sent a dozen vegan cupcakes to them. "This is from my husband. He was asking for everyone," Meghan was overheard saying as the treats were passed around. This is so painfully planned, it almost seems unreal at the details we have. The way I see it, we're basically sitting in on Meghan's conversation. It's so obvious she has her little PR deal with People magazine who are updating us on the dialogue at lunch. Pretty sure if this happened in the UK and some not so perfect dialogue was said, Meghan would have had a cow. Then of course we have another People exclusive from a charity visit where Meghan and her staff attended some pop-up baby boutiques for expecting mothers in honor of International Women's Day. People reported they created a pop-up baby boutique, hosted lunch from a female-owned restaurant, and made a donation to the charity. I guess they want us to say all hail the feminist queen Meghan, because are we supposed to clap for her? I really don't know. Having lunch and posing for some photos isn't the huge philanthropic effort they're trying to make it seem, but okay. Richard Eden also claimed that Meghan and Harry wanted revenge on the royal family after the eviction from Frogmore Cottage, and this is why they retaliated using the titles very publicly and having People magazine break the news. Then of course People magazine posted about the line of succession being updated on Instagram. Instagram user Royal Instablog makes a great point, writing, "They obviously wanted the palace to make the statement." And they continue to elaborate and say that if the palace made the announcement following the Oprah interview, it basically looks like they gave in to their demands on Oprah, and Oprah, along with Harry and Meghan, would get all the glory. But instead, they let them acknowledge that it's their decision to take the titles from the racist royal family, which all along was always available. They are accepting titles from the racist institution, after all they said. Major hypocrites. Tessa Dunlop, a royal historian, said that their decision to use Archie and Lilibet's titles is not a surprise, and the decision is proof that Harry remains a monarchist, which means a supporter of the monarchy. This makes Harry and Meghan look like total hypocrites because when I tell you they spent 6 hours on Netflix, basically taking a dump on the royal family. I truly mean it. They tried to disguise it from an activist point of view by bringing people to call the Queen's Commonwealth the British Empire 2.0, and basically painting the monarchy in a very negative light by highlighting past monarchs' role in slavery. Mind you, a card that Meghan never played, nor is on record for talking about, until of course she wanted to twist everything to her advantage. And they did all this for what? To go back and lick the floor the monarchy walks on and still use the titles?
But you did this for what? Why not? Why? Why not?
Again, if they cared so much about the negative history of Britain and the monarchy, why use the titles? Why associate with this racist family you walked away from? You see, the issue with them is that they want to pretend like they don't like the relevancy and attention and prestige that comes with being part of the royal family. They want to go and turn this whole thing into something that it's not. And quite frankly, this just makes people lose any and all respect for Harry and Meghan. They're just seen as cheap scams who want to complain and moan but bask in all the glory. That's how out of touch with reality they are. The Daily Star pokes fun at Harry, who's on the front page under the headline Hypocrisy Edition, calling him Prince Charmless and writing, after 3 years of slagging off his dad, his brother, his stepmom, his childhood, his country, and his royal status, this entitled Wazok now declares it's his kid's birthright to be a real-life prince and princess. The irony with Prince Edward's new title at the same time. The hilarious part about all of this is how the royal family is handling it and making a mockery out of Harry and Meghan, because royal titles aren't announced through petty tabloid gossip. There are official statements set out and formalities taking place. On March 10th, 2 days after People magazine revealed the titles for the Sussex kids, the royal family released a press statement saying that King Charles has been pleased to confer the Duke of Edinburgh upon Prince Edward, Earl of Wessex and Forfar on the occasion of his 59th birthday. They're basically showing us how titles are given in respect by demonstrating the play-by-play through Prince Edward. First, we have the official announcement from Buckingham Palace. Then, an expression of goodwill and congratulations on his birthday. After that, all official accounts from charities and patronages have been briefed by the palace about the wording of their congratulations. Then, there are instant updates of the former Wessex couple into their new official titles on all appropriate pages in the royal website. And finally, we have the pre-planned visit to Scotland to celebrate their new titles of Duke and Duchess of Edinburgh. That's how royal titles are announced, not in some sellout Hollywood way, especially after lying about the titles to begin with. What have they said in the past about these titles? Meghan said in her interview with Oprah Winfrey in 2021 that Archie was not given the title of prince because of his race, which was a complete lie and seemingly made with the intention to weaponize racism in her revenge agenda. I made 2 videos on all the lies spewed on Oprah, so go check them out. The real reason was that, although he was a great-grandchild of the monarch, he was not a firstborn son of a future king and so was not automatically a prince. I already explained what the late Queen did for Prince William's kids with issuing letters patent so that they are born with the titles and the titles are not changed later on, so go check that out in the titles video. Lilibet also now has a Her Royal Highness style title if she wishes to use it. However, it was understood that the HRH will be held in abeyance, which describes a state of temporary disuse. What does Lilibet's christening in LA mean for her role in the Church of England? For those of you who may not know what a christening is defined as a Christian ceremony in which a baby is made a member of the Christian Church. The Episcopal Church describes a christening as being, for parents, a commitment to your faith on behalf of your child. Conducting the ceremony in the US means that Lilibet will not be considered a member of the Church of England automatically. However, the christening in the US is valid in the UK. A royal baby does not need to be christened in a Church of England church to go into the royal line of succession, but she could later join a Church of England congregation if she came to Britain. Harry and Meghan also broke a long-standing tradition by upholding the baptism in the US, with royal babies normally christened in a Church of England church. Well, that's the whole story, and that's it for this video. This concludes the drama surrounding the sudden title announcement. I will keep you guys updated as the story progresses. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Follow us on our social media, like and subscribe for more, and as always, I'll see you next time.